So good day everyone. I hope you're doing well. So today we will be going to report to you with Miss Jeian Apurada, the mother tongue based multilingual education or Mtb-Mle here in the Philippines. This is a very relevant and timely topic, especially because it directly affects how young Filipino learners are taught in school. So before we proceed, let's read first our learning goals. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to fully understand the goals and provisions of Mtb-Mle. Second, examine Mtb-Mle's framework vis-a-vis the common components of curriculum framework and gain an in-depth understanding of Mtb-Mle based on interviews from parents, students, and teachers. So these goals will guide us throughout the presentation. Now let's proceed. First, Mtb-Mle is a controversial topic. While many supports it, others raise valid concerns. So last week we conducted a debate here in our classroom. So the topic is if you believe that a learner's mother tongue should be used as a medium of instruction. We divided the class into two groups. One side is on the affirmative side and the other groups are in the opposition side. So on the affirmative side, they believe that using the mother tongue as a medium of instruction to young learners will have them to have a better understanding, improve learning outcomes, cultural preservation, boosted confidence, and a strong educational foundation. While for the opposition on the opposition side naman, they argued that it may harm global competitiveness. There are limited sources available. Um, uh, the diverse language, especially here in the Philippines. Higher education is mainly in English and it can delay English learning. So now let's break these arguments down in more detail. So the affirmative team argued that children learn best when taught in their first language or their L1. Learners understand lesson more clearly when taught in their first language. So according to UNESCO, children learn best in their mother tongue, especially in early years. So using the mother tongue, it improves comprehension because the language is already familiar to the learners. It is the language they use in their homes. So second, it improves learning. So when students understand instruction easily, they can engage more actively in class. There's less confusion and more participation which improve learning outcomes. So a study from DepEd 2012 found out that students who were taught in their mother tongue from the early years, especially in kindergarten to grade 3, scored significantly higher in reading and math compared to those who were taught in English and Filipino. Next, it preserves culture. So the use of mother tongue and education strengthen cultural identity because language carries tradition, stories, and customs. So when it used in school, children develop pride in their heritage. So when these languages are used in schools, children learn to appreciate their heritage and develop pride in their community. So according to Scott Nabkangas 2000, mother tongue education is not just beneficial, it is a human right and a powerful tool to protect endangered languages and promote cultural diversity. Next, another benefit is that students feel more confident. Think about it, when you don't understand the language being used, it is hard to speak up. As a student, especially even us in college, um, we uh, we tend to uh, we tend to be dependent in the language that we are comfortable with. We 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 convey comfortably when we use our own language or the language we are comfortable, like we are talking to be I when the teacher ask us something in English, we decided, or we automatically answer them in vernacular, or in Bisaya or in Tagalog, because that language is how we are comfortable with. So this was supported by the study of Cummins 2000, that confidence also makes it easier for learners to acquire second languages like English and Filipino later on. Lastly, another benefit in using the mother tongue as a language of instruction is that it can build a strong foundation. So the idea is, when you learn the basic reading, writing, thinking in your first language, those skills can transfer to another language. So right when we already know how to write, how to think in our own language, learning another language, or L2 or the second language, can much more easier. So this was supported by Cummins in 1979, which is 1979, the threshold hypothesis, which says that once a learner reaches a certain level of competence in their L1, the cognitive and academic skills developed there can be transferred to second or third languages like Filipino or English. So starting in the mother tongue helps students make a smoother transition to another language later on. So now I will give the floor to Miss Apurada. Jeian, please.
So now let's talk about the opposition arguments. First, we have global competitiveness. English is considered the international language, especially in fields like business, science, and technology. So people who speak English fluently have more opportunities to work or study abroad. According to the British Council in 2013, being good at English helps individuals connect to global networks and increase their chances of getting jobs. While critics of mother tongue-based education believe that if students learn English later, they might fall behind when competing globally. They argue that children should be exposed to English as early as possible to prepare them for international standards. Next, we have limited resources. So not all local or mother tongue languages have the materials needed for teaching, such as textbooks, visual aids, and trained teachers. In countries like here in the Philippines, where many languages are spoken, this becomes a big problem. According to Malone in 2007, the lack of teaching materials in smaller or minority languages often causes poor learning outcomes. Also, it takes a lot of time, effort, and money to train teachers who can teach in this language effectively. So as a result, it's hard to fully implement mother tongue education in all areas. Third, we have diverse languages in one classroom. In many schools, especially in provinces like here in Mindanao, students come from different language backgrounds. For example, in one classroom, some students may speak Cebuano, others Ilonggo, and others Magindanaon. The problem is, which language will the teacher use? If only one mother tongue is chosen, the other students might feel left out or have difficulty understanding the lessons. So Walter and Benson in 2012 explained that this issue of having too much languages makes mother tongue education less practical and less fair to everyone. Fourth, we have higher education is mostly in English. When students go to college or take professional courses, most of the subjects are taught in English. The books, exams, and lectures are usually in English. So critics say that if students are not trained early to understand and use English, they may struggle when they reach college. This is especially true in subjects that requires technical terms, like science or engineering. So they argue that students should start learning in English as soon as possible to avoid difficulty in the future. And for the last one, we have number 5, delays in learning English. Some educators worry that using the mother tongue too much in the early grades might slow down students' ability to learn English. Even though studies shows that children learn better when they start with their first language, critics still believe that the less exposure to English in the early years can delay their ability to read, write, and speak it fluently. So according to Bal in 2010, he said that this could be a big problem for students because many schools switch to English as the medium of instruction in the upper grades. If students are not ready, they may struggle to catch up. So now let's talk about the law that supports mother tongue-based education. Aside from the important policy in DepEd Order No. 74 series of 2009, the use of the mother tongue as a medium of instruction was further strengthened through a national law, which is the Republic Act No. 10533, also known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. In Section 4, Paragraph 3 of this law, it clearly says that from kindergarten to grade 3, all teaching, including instruction, learning materials, and assessments, should be in the regional or native language of the students. This means that the language the child is most familiar with or usually spoken at home or in their community should be used in class. The goal here is to help children learn more effectively by using a language they understand best, especially during their early years. So then, starting from grade 4 to grade 6, the law states that the Department of Education or the DepEd must create a transition plan. This plan is meant to gradually introduce Filipino and English as additional language of instruction. Over time, these two languages, Filipino and English, will slowly become the main language used in school. By the time students reach high school, Filipino and English should be the primary language used in teaching. So to conclude this slide, this law supports the idea that using the mother tongue in early education makes learning easier and more natural for young students. But it also ensures that students will be prepared to use Filipino and English as they grow older and enter higher levels of education. So now let's talk about the Department Order No. 43 series of 2013, which is the Implementing Rules and Regulations, also known as IRR. So this law further explains and supports the previous policy about mother tongue-based education, multilingual education, or the Mtb-Mle. It gives specific details on how the K-12 program should be implemented, especially regarding the language used in teaching. So here are the key points from Section 10.4 or the medium of teaching and learning. The law says that basic education should be taught in a language that learners understand well. This is because language is very important in shaping the formative years of children. That is the early years when they are just starting to learn and develop. Second, the curriculum must help students become proficient in both Filipino and English, but it also recognizes that a child's first language or mother tongue should be the foundation of their education. Next, so during kindergarten up to grade 3, the regional or the native language of the learner should be used in teaching or instruction, learning materials like books and visuals, and test assessments. So this means that if a child speaks Cebuano, Ilocano, or other local language, that same language should be used to teach them in the early years. After learning about the laws and concern related to Mtb-Mle, let us now explore what the actual curriculum guide says. From pages 1 to 9 of the K-12 Mother Tongue Curriculum Guide, I pick out key points that highlight the purpose and benefits of using the mother tongue in early education. So let's start from number 1. First, we have mother tongue-based multilingual education, or the Mtb-Mle, is the government's banner program for education as a salient part of the implementation of the K-12 basic education program. So this shows how important mother tongue-based multilingual education is. It is not just a side project. It is the main strategy the government uses to improve basic education under K-12. Mtb-Mle is a core part of how learning is delivered in the early years. Second, research stresses that the fact that children with a solid foundation in their mother tongue develop a stronger literacy abilities in the school language. So, if students first learn to read and write in their native language, they can later learn other languages like English or Filipino more effectively. A strong mother tongue foundation helps them become better readers and writers in school. Next, we have number 3. For the effective implementation of the Mtb-Mle, it is suggested that the two-track method must be used. That is the primer track to focus on accuracy and the story track to focus on meaning. So, here, teachers are encouraged to use the two approaches. We have primer track and story track. The primer track helps students read correctly, which is the accuracy, while the story track helps students understand what they read or the meaning. Using both help balance technical skills and comprehension and reading. So now let's proceed to number 4. It says here that using the learner's mother tongue provides a strong foundation by developing cognitive skills and comprehension of the academic content from day 1. So, when students learn in a language they already speak, they can understand lessons faster and think more critically. It improves their ability to grasp academic subjects right from the start. Fifth, we have Mtb-Mle provides a good bridge to listening, speaking, reading, and writing the language 2 or language 3 of the classroom using sound educational principles for building fluency and confidence in using the other languages for lifelong learning. So, learning in the mother tongue helps build a bridge to learning other language. It can be Filipino, English, or other languages. So students become more confident and fluent in this second or third language, which helps them in long-term education and life. 6, we have decoding text requires accuracy, while comprehending text requires decoding skills within a meaningful context. So learning to read is not just about sounding out words or decoding. It's about understanding them too. Accuracy is needed, but meaning is key. So students must read within a context to truly understand. So next, number 7. We learn when we use what we already know to help us understand what is new. So here, learning is easier when students connect new information to what they already know or experience. That is why teaching in the mother tongue is helpful. It taps into the student's background knowledge. So number 8, students who use their multilingual skills have been shown to develop both cognitive flexibility and divergent thinking. So multilingual students, or those who speak more than one language, become better at solving problems, thinking creatively, and adapting to different situations. So their brains are trained to think in flexible and open-minded ways. Number 9. Second language or active learning. Young children gain confidence in learning a new language when they begin with hear, see, do, the total physical response activities. So, when learning a new language, kids learn better through actions and experiences, not just by listening. So, this strategy is called TPR, the total physical response. It involves using gestures and move out to make learning fun and memorable. Last, we have valuing students with talents in their home language more powerfully enables learning, not just valuing learners of English whose home language is irrelevant to academic success. So, it is about recognizing and appreciating a student's mother tongue, boost their confidence, and learning more than just rewarding those who are already good in English. So it is about inclusion, respect, and empowering all learners, not just English speakers.
Hello again. So now what you see on the screen is the curriculum framework by DepEd about the Mtb-Mle in the Philippines. So now let's explore the common components of curriculum framework. So first is the current context. So a common question in this is, what is the social and economic environment in which teaching and learning occurs? So our answer to that is the teaching and learning occur in a multilingual and multilingual society where many children speak a language at home that differs from official language of instruction. Economic disparities and lack of access to quality education materials also affect learning. So we live in a country with many languages and cultures. Most children speak a local language at home, which is different from the language used in school. Also, some families don't have access to books or school supplies. These problems make learning harder. That's why the curriculum starts with the language students already know, which is their mother tongue. Next one is education policy statement. So common question on this is, what are the government's goals for education? So the government wants children to learn better by starting school in their first language. So this helps them understand lessons more easily. Later, they will also learn Filipino, English, and other languages. So the goal is to help students become good readers, thinkers, and citizens. So third one, the learning objective or standard. So question, what should students be able to do when they finish school? Students should be able to read and write fluently in their mother tongue and additional languages. Think, crit- la- think, criti- think critically and apply knowledge in real life situations, contributing productively to society. So students should be able to read, write, and speak in their mother tongue and other languages. So they should know how to think critically, solve problems, and use what they learn in real life situations. So this helps them become helpful and productive members of society. So next one is curriculum content and subjects. So how is the curriculum organized? What subjects are taught? So in grades 1 to 3, students learn using their mother tongue. As they grow older, they also learn Filipino and English. The subjects include language, math, science, social studies, and values. Lesson starts easy and become more advanced as they move up each year level or grade level. Next, fifth one is the teaching methods. So what teaching methods are used? So teachers use methods that focus on the student. Lessons are connected to real life experiences, and teachers respect students' culture and language. So they slowly guide students from the mother tongue to other languages so they won't get confused. Our sixth component of the curriculum framework is assessing student achievements. So how do teachers know if students are learning? So teachers use tests, quizzes, class activities, and projects to check if students understand the lessons. So these assessments are done in the language students know best, so teachers can truly see what they have learned.
So now let's proceed to your activity. Form groups of 5 for the final task of this lesson. Interview parents, students, or teachers and ask them these questions. First, do you know what Mtb-Mle is? Second, do you agree that a child should be taught using his or her L1 before introducing L2, and why? Third, do you think Mtb-Mle will affect a child's proficiency in his or her L2? So for this, prepare a 700-word interview report that will summarize the data that you have gathered. That would be all. Thank you for listening. Bye!